So, right, so first and foremost, so I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashemi, Oshai, Ba'ashemi Kakodash. We say double and say apostles are elders agreed, Mr. Not rule well, our teachers, our apostles in the truth, and we say salutation, so the Akim, we push you with no truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly, in season or the season, we say Shalom. Once again, go the entire video here, and this is basically touching upon enduring or to endure, right? Now, let me start with the scripture. This is the book of James, chapter 1, and I read verse 12, right? It say here, blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord had promised to them that love him. Now, when you look at the meaning of the word endure, it means to suffer. It says suffer something painful or difficult patiently. So even though you're suffering, even though you're going through this difficult and painful time, right, you still have to go through it well, patiently, because the scripture is mentioned to let patience work a perfect work, right? And through patience, when they go through these things patiently, you get to understand what it is they're going through and how to deal with it, right? Let's say remain in existence last. Let's go down a little bit. It says harden, right? Harden or hard. Let me see if they give me something here. It says to hold out. It says to hold out against, sustain without impairment or yielding, undergo, right? Yielding, to sustain without impairment. So let's look at the word yielding. It says yielding describes something that gives way, bends, or produces a result. So basically, you don't want to yield. You want to continue, enduring until the end. And that's what you want to be. That scripture says, blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life. Right? He didn't yield. Right? Whatever it is he faced, he continued to endure unto the end. And we know that things that we will be facing in the truth. You would lose things, right? Matter of fact, let me get that. Let me go to the book of Philippians chapter 3, and I'll go read from verse let me read from verse 7. Right? It say, but what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Mashiach. It say, yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Yahushua Mashiach, my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Mashiach. Right? So yeah. So you count all the things that he lost as what? As dung. So we understand that we would lose things, right? But through losing these things, we have to endure. We have to go through these things that we would face, these trials, these afflictions, right? And not give up. When we lose things, we understand we're losing it for to gain more, right? Because the things you're losing here, as the scripture mentioned, I think would to be compared for what it is we're going to receive, right? I'm going to get that in the book of Romans, right? The book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 18. It says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Yes, so the sufferings, the things that we would face here, it really and truly ain't worthy, right? You go through the pain, you go through these sufferings, these things that they face here, so that when the glory you're gonna be 100 times that, right? The glory gonna be greater than the sufferings that they're going through here, right? And yet you have to face these two sides. In order to receive the glory, you have to go through the sufferings. It's the same way. It's the same way they will tell any world, right? The same way they will tell any world, in order to receive the benefits, or in order to receive the money, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the time, the sleepless nights, and all this. Yeah, that is what they're telling. So it's basically, but you have to do it more for the Lord. So when it comes to this thing, you have to endure and not yield, right? And not yield. It say, what does it mean to endure a situation? It say endure means to tolerate, right? Sorry. So it's saying endure means to tolerate, suffer, or continue in a situation that is difficult or unpleasant. You have the ability and strength to endure. To endure on what? Endure until the end. Right? Enduring until the end. Sorry. Let's see if I got a script. Get us. That is script there I want to. Right, so this is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 4, and I'm going to read verse 5. It says, but watch thou in all things. It says, endure afflictions. Endure afflictions. So going through these afflictions that you would face. That way it says to what? It means what? It means to tolerate, suffer, or continue in a situation that is difficult or unpleasant. You have the ability and strength to endure, right? And to endure unto the end. Right? So it's such an important thing to endure. Not when these hard times reach, when these afflictions hit, that they give up. The scriptures talk about those that in time of hardship, if you give up, you're weak. You know this roughly paraphrasing, right? I written in the book of Proverbs, right? Matter of fact, let me see if I could get quick. See if I could get quick. I'm gonna get it here, right? Proverbs chapter 24 verse 10, right? It say, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small, right? And I said, thy strength is small, right? So you don't want to faint in the day of adversity. You don't want to yield. What you want to do is endure, as the scripture said, to endure. So the 2 Timothy said what? It says but watch thou in all things, right? But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, right? Not giving up, not yielding, right? Not yielding, right? Not any day, not making a strength feel small, right? It says, do the work of evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. Right? I have fought a good fight, and I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Right? So no matter what it is that they may going through, they always remember to endure. Right? To endure. Suffer. That is part of it. Right? And suffer patiently as well. Not giving up in when things meet. It may seem hard, we have to turn upon. Right? In time of your hardships, in the time of your affliction, the time of your trials that they may going through, you have to turn to, you have to call upon the Lord. Some of these situations will make you get closer to the Lord as well. To see the trust you have in the Lord. Right? To see if you turn to the Lord, or see if you're going go do something else. Right? No matter what it is you face, you know, sometimes you're going through things, right? Be hard. Might be some money problem, might be some family problem, however it may be, you know, because you know, each brother may have the different trials they have to go through, right? But you turn to the Lord, right? And you go through it, and the Lord is always show you a way out, you know, always show you something with that. And that do what? That would obviously, it builds your faith. It builds you, right? So you know, somebody, if a younger brother come to ask you, you know, how did you do the situation? You had the experience. And tell him, hey, this is where you had to go through, this is where you had to face, you know. Right? So that is how you want to be. Always enduring until what? Until the end. Until the end. Not giving up, not yielding. Right? This is the book of Sirach chapter 2, read from verse 1, it says, My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Yeah, make not haste. That is why when you read the full scripture I read was what? To patiently, right? No, sorry. The meaning of the screen was to patiently, right? Suffer patiently, not making haste any time of trouble, right? Because as trouble hit, some men do they just run to take the easy way out, and that is usually the wrong way that they might take. Sorry, usually the wrong way. What you want to do is to constantly endure and endure until to the end, right? So you say, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thyself for temptation. There are lots of men that I remember reading a comment, or I did, and I think I did a response on it. You know, the brother from the elder from Barbados, he did a video where the elder from Alaska was doing a live, and someone came into the chat, right, and they were posting comments talking about since they come to serve the since they come to serve the Lord, and it's basically a fallout, and most likely a score for a scorner if some of the things he's saying is true. But it's not the first time I heard it. I remember years ago, right? A guy basically said the same thing, but this guy on the live, he was saying, "Come to serve the Lord." His family leave him, and he was saying certain things along the lines like he was going through a whole set of stuff, and then when he leave, things get good with him, and that is the mindset that is being, right? They can't suffer, they can't endure, they wouldn't endure, right? And they would turn to some worldly shit, right? That is an example of how not to be, right? And the Ella from Barbados did the video, and then I came and did a response, right? So that way it says, set thine heart right and constantly endure, right? Constantly endure. It didn't say to endure once, no, it said to constantly endure. We understand and see that is the thing. The more you endure, you gotta understand that that is the things you're facing is part of it. Not everything gonna be good. You gotta face the both sides. And we living in this wicked world that will be what? Against us. So obviously we would endure. Your woman, your children, your job, your family, whoever it may be. Right? And way more hardships upon that. I just drawing some small references that usually might be, at the right there next there. Right? But hey, to constantly endure, it might be going through money problems, car problems, however it may be, right? These is things. And again, this is a small things that calling it out far beyond that, right? But always remember to constantly endure and make not haste in the time of trouble. Right? Say, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end there, to cleave unto the Lord. Right? So in the times that they may be facing, the things, the afflictions, the trials, you cleave unto the Lord more. Pay closer to the Lord, make a call out to the Lord more. Right? Because that is who you have to turn to for help. You can't turn to nothing else. Because there's no help to get here. Right? So always remember to endure unto the end. Right? You don't want to be like other men that didn't endure, and this fall out. I'm gonna read this is the book of James, chapter 5. And I read from verse 10. It said, take my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord. And have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy. And above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea and your nay be nay, lest ye fall into condemnation. So yeah, as the scripture said, take my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience, an example unto us. Because we read the things that went unto Job and many other prophets. You go through, you read, you would see the kind of stuff that they face. Men was coming against them, armies against them, right? And all many other things. Job's wife was telling him, curse the Lord. Your family was killed. And what happened at the latter end, right? This we know we had to endure. It say, behold, we count them happy which endure, to suffer patiently, right? Not to yield, right? It say, like the Webster 1828, it say, to last, to continue in the same state without perishing, to remain, to abide, continuing to abide no matter the things they may face, right? They say, behold, we count them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy. So yes, right? So always remember, endure unto the end. So with that, once again, I will give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. We say double on apostle, Allah a great Muslim, rule our teachers, our apostle in truth, and we say salutations so the I can push you with no truth and sincerity, day in and day out in the concern, the in season of the season, say Shalom.